Alright, here's the thing. What does ammo generation do? How does it work and how can I build into it? At the time of writing, I've only seen about 2 videos talking in depth about the ammo generation system in Destiny 2. And while they were solid, they lacked the depth of knowledge that I'm looking for. I like a Marbler video level of data analysis, where I know every percentage point there is to know and no one has dug into those numbers yet. So, fine. I'll do it myself. Hi, I'm Sierra107, video editor and music scrub, and today I'm taking you through a deep dive into Destiny 2 Edge of Fate's ammo generation system. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a lot of numbers. The ammo generation stat is a repurposed stat from weapons, replacing what used to be the inventory stat. For the most part, it was unable to be altered, with the exception of a couple of weapon perks and the use of reserves armor mods on your chest piece. With the new system, weapons have access to even more mods and perks that alter the ammo generation stat, which I'll go into later. The stat does have a hard cap of 100 though, and exceeding that number provides no benefit. So how does the stat work? Simply put, final blows and assists provide progress on your ammo meters, which are hosted on your HUD below your weapons. Keep in mind that kills and assists are, with very few exceptions, the only way to generate ammo. If you want your special and heavy weapons to be topped off, you'll need to be engaging in combat. If your weapon has a low ammo generation stat, then it'll give a small amount of progress, and a high stat, more progress. Simple, right? But I wanted to know how much progress. So I tested, and tested, and tested, and this is what I found. So for any data analysis to be done well, you'll need a consistent testing environment. So how did I achieve that? My main testing hub was at first inside the overthrow activities in the Pale Heart. The tracker on the side of the screen awards the player with 1 point per kill of an enemy, so this gave me a convenient tracker to take notes with, and I wouldn't have to keep track of every individual kill by hand. Instead, I only had to take notes every time I received ammo bricks. Later on, I used the shooting range once Bungie enabled ammo generation on kills there, and combined with a full throttle modifier, I could track kills up to 100 automatically, and manually tallied any kills beyond that. Finally, I don't need to run around like a maniac to try and find red bars to kill. Next, when running these tests, I was very deliberate with how I achieved kills. If I was testing, say, 60 ammo stat on special weapons, I was only using my special weapon. I didn't weaken enemies with my primary, I didn't slow them down with a stasis grenade, I only used the weapon I was specifically testing. Also, enemy rank does affect progress gained, so I avoided killing different ranks during testing. And I did make sure to repeat any tests as necessary to make sure there weren't any discrepancies. If a number seemed out of place, it got retested, which I did a lot. Fun fact, there is no primary weapon with an ammo generation stat below 20. The record for lowest ammo generation stat primary goes to Atalanta D, its Black Armory reissue Atalanta D XG 1992, Every Awakened Moment, and Perfect Pitch. All SMGs. Weird. So we're going to just extrapolate what 20 ammo generation looks like and use data for the rest of it. In the meantime, Bungie, if you could make a couple of gray primary weapons that have like 0, 10, and 20 ammo generation, that would be wonderful. Thanks. Anyway. Primary weapons with 100 ammo generation stat provide 16% special ammo progress per kill and 8% heavy ammo progress. That means that you'll need about 7 kills to generate a special ammo brick and about 13 for a heavy brick. At 80, we see 14% and 7% per kill, 50, it's 11 and 5.5%, and at this point you can just read the data on screen if you want, or check the Google Sheets linked below to find specific numbers. Now, when we get to special weapons, things get a bit interesting. Right off the rip, you'll notice that the heavy ammo progress, at least at 30 ammo generation and above, is identical to the primary weapons. However, special ammo progress is notably lower, with about 25 to 33% reduced effectiveness. Now, this makes sense, as special weapons generating their own ammo too effectively would kind of ruin the purpose of special weapons having limited ammo. And with heavy weapons, that deficit is even stronger. Special ammo generation has slightly reduced effectiveness, hitting that 25% reduction at 0 stat, but keeping up with primary weapons at 100 stat. But heavy ammo progress is cataclysmically low, with 4% being the absolute maximum at 100 stat. This isn't to say that the stat is pointless on heavy weapons, because if you're running a double special, it'll be invaluable to top off those weapons. But if you're just looking at heavy ammo generation itself, you're genuinely better off using your abilities to charge that meter. Swords and glaives are the odd ones out here. We know that swords don't have an ammo stat, so this is expected. Sword final blows grant 3.3% repeating progress on kills, which unfortunately places them behind ability kills. But for some reason, glaives are bugged, and their projectile kills also grant 3.3% progress, ignoring the ammo generation stat, while their melees match ability kills in their gains. Weird. Speaking of, abilities do also progress the meter, but not by that much. With every takedown, abilities grant 4% progress exactly for both meters, taking a grand total of 25 kills to generate a brick of both kinds. Compared to weapons, it's basically a snail's pace, so if you want your ammo back, you're probably going to want to focus on weapon use more than abilities. Super abilities actually grant much more progress, granting at least 3 times more depending on enemy rank. And yes, enemy rank does provide a different scaler depending on the rank of enemy you defeat. These numbers get funky though, with some weird exponential scaling for ammo generation with weapons. You can check the spreadsheet for specific numbers, but the rule of thumb is majors give 1.5 to 2 times as much special ammo progress and 2 times the heavy ammo progress. And elite to boss tiered combatants typically grant 3 to 4 times progress across the board. Finishers seem to inherit the ammo generation properties of whatever weapon was used to weaken the target, but it doesn't seem to work with ability damage for some reason. Except for with transcendent ability damage, which then also has a weird scaler on top of it for special ammo generation. I'm so confused by this, but it's probably just bugged, so who cares? It is worth noting that final blows aren't required to generate ammo, and assists are valid as well. As long as you tag the target within a reasonable window, you'll get 75% of the ammo generation progress if you had instead landed the final blow. So even if you don't have time to commit to kills, it's worth tagging them, especially bigger targets. So, high ammo generation stat weapons are the most reliable way to make ammo bricks, fairly intuitive. But there are a couple of ways to increase your ammo generation progress aside from the raw weapon stat, so let's take a look at your build crafting options. Ammo finder mods are the easiest and most universal way to increase your ammo gains. They operate independently from your weapon's ammo stat and apply a scaler to basically all sources of ammo generation, be it weapons, abilities, or perks on your gun. Special ammo finder mods grant progress increases of 25% for 1 mod, 40% for 2, and 50% for 3 copies. That's fairly significant. With 3 mods, you would gain a special ammo brick in just 5 kills at 100 stat, down from 7. Now that is very good, and yet Heavy Ammo Finder blows it out of the water with increases of 33, 66, and 100% progress increases. Let me repeat that, 100%. That is an incredible benefit, especially if you use your heavy weapon like a primary. Furthermore, legendary weapons also have access to the Bandolier and Abundant Ammo weapon mods, which grant 5 and 10 ammo generation stat respectively to those weapons, and tier 4 and 5 weapons get enhanced mods that bump those up to 7 and 12. The Reserves armor mods have also been updated to become ammo generation mods, which increase the stat of your ammo generation for weapons of those elements by 20, 40, and 50 respectively. And again, your stat cannot exceed 100, so you should always keep in mind your ammo generation stat when you're equipping them. Warlocks have a unique ability to increase their ammo generation via the recently buffed Empowering Rift, which grants an additive 15% scaler to most ammo generation sources in the same way of Ammo Finder mods. Axiom War Rig seems to be the only exotic armor piece that seems to affect ammo generation, granting what looks to be 5 ammo generation per stack. It's genuinely hard to tell given how quickly the buff drops off, but based on my testing, that seems about accurate. Also, Navigator has a base ammo generation stat of 60, but when you have Woven Mail, the stat is increased to 100. Whether it's a plus 100 or a plus 40 modifier, I'd love to know, but either way, that's pretty good. In terms of weapon perks, there are actually a couple of options. Impromptu Ammunition, while active, will grant an additive 15% scaler to your ammo generation in a similar way to Ammo Finder mods. Lead from Light grants you stacks on your weapon when you pick up an Orb of Power, and Final Blows will consume those stacks, granting you a 25% scaler to your special ammo progress for those kills. And also, there are a couple of perks which grant increased ammo generation stat to your weapons at base. Enhanced Envious Arsenal gives you plus 20, Air Trigger and Field Prep give 30 at base, 40 enhanced, and not to be left out, the Enhanced Explosive Bolts perk on heavy bows grants plus 2 ammo generation. Armor sets also have a couple of unique perks that provide ammo generation, but most of them frankly aren't worth it. The Last Discipline's 4-piece bonus, Power Loader, grants 6.5% special ammo progress on Orb of Power pickup, which is fine. It's a nice bonus, I guess, but it's not really substantial enough to matter in most ad slaying cases. It might have value in damage rotations, though. Smoke Jumper's 4-piece bonus, Too Old for This, is in a similar boat. 16% special ammo progress on finishing an elite sounds good at first, but then you remember that you're probably earning twice as much as that without it, and it won't happen often enough to be worth the slot, personally. The Iron Penelope set though, that's a pretty good one. Once the perk Iron Conviction is active, on top of the rest of its benefits, plus 35 ammo generation to all of your weapons as long as you're maintaining its uptime. That's pretty useful. Now, that's all very important information. The frequency of ammo brick spawns is critical, and 100% will make the difference in some raid encounters. But how much do these bricks actually give you? Well, it's a good thing I tested that too. The amount of ammo you gain from a brick is dependent on a couple of factors. 1, your weapon archetype, 2, if a scavenger mod is equipped, and 3, your weapon stat. As you can imagine, an ammo brick will give you less rocket launcher ammo than a machine gun, but how much? On screen, you can see the ammo per brick of every weapon archetype in the game. For special weapons, the rough estimate is about 3 kills per brick, and heavy weapons are just all over the place. When you throw on a scavenger mod, it typically will just give you 1 extra ammo per brick, which you can tell benefits some weapons more than others. Notably, rocket launchers, swords, and trace rifles are massive winners here, with anywhere from 50 to 100% increased ammo per brick. But things get really interesting when you increase the weapon stat. When you have plus 100 weapon stat on your character, not only do you start gaining increased damage against bosses, you start to accumulate a chance to receive an enhanced ammo brick. So how valuable are these bricks? Well, it depends, but the best answer is immensely valuable. For special weapons, we see gains of 100% increased ammo over a normal brick in most cases, with scavengers offering diminishing returns in comparison to before. And for the most part, heavy weapons see less value, only matching a scavenger mod, but machine guns absolutely thrive in these situations, gaining 60 to 70% increases in their ammo gained, which makes heavy ammo ad clear suddenly far more viable, especially when you throw ammo finders on as well. If you want to know how many bricks it takes for each weapon to have max ammo, once again, you can check the spreadsheet. So that's a lot of numbers. How do we use them though? Something really important to keep in mind actually isn't the effects of the stats themselves, it's the change in passive ammo generation, namely that it doesn't exist anymore. I've seen some buzz on how this apparently has ruined raid encounters because teams are unable to do consecutive damage phases due to a lack of ammo, but I disagree. Players are used to permanently assigning roles in raid encounters, with mechanics players only executing mechanics and ad clear players only clearing ads. But this new system actually asks players to be adaptable and switch their jobs on the fly. Now, ideally, players should take turns between damage phases clearing ads, generating ammo, and the next phase, execute mechanics, and while they do, scavenge the ammo they had made prior. And if that's the case, everyone gets to do mechanics, and I'm honestly here for that. That's pretty fun. And while we're talking about trade-offs, it is worth noting that while small investments make big differences, big investments will come at a cost. For example, ammo finder mods, while incredibly potent, can test with Siphon, Super Font, and other super energy generating mods. Ammo generation mods on your chest piece go up against resistance mods, affecting your survivability, and scavenger mods are fighting against Orb of Power mods, as well as surge mods and weapon fonts. One mod for each armor piece will be manageable, but losing weapon-based orb generation for the sake of triple ammo finders can seriously harm your neutral game. Fully committing to ammo generation comes at a massive cost and should not be taken lightly. To me, the optimal setup, which has minimal trade-offs, looks something like this. A single heavy ammo finder mod is essential, making sure you're well stocked to delete a target at any time. You should try to maintain an ammo generation stat of at least 60, ideally 80 if you can. Some weapons hit that number naturally, but for those that are lacking, a single ammo generation mod on your chest plate and an abundant ammo mod should help make up the difference. Scavenger mods are essential for weapons like rocket launchers and swords, but for other weapons, it's up to you and what you decide is worth it. As for the weapon stat, this is ultimately up to the needs of your individual build. If you feel it justifies the investment, a weapon stat of I feel 133 feels like a safe place to make sure your bricks are potent and rich. And that's it. That's everything you need to know about the new ammo generation system in Destiny 2: The Edge of Fate. What do you think? Do you think the system is well designed? Do you think that triple heavy ammo finder is worth it? Or are you just gonna rock double special without any investment like a mad lad? Thank you for watching. See you on the Field Guardians.